Good afternoon. This is Ron Brown. It's 12:12 Central Standard Time on Friday. I'm going to do a segment here and then add to it when the market closes for my weekend report. Now, this is the standard risk disclaimer. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. My intention with this video, or my intent, I should say, is to show you what I'm looking at and to show you some of the things that you can do with HGSI without spending a bunch of money for other software. Anyway, this, as you can see, is the thinkorswim platform, and this is the way the comp looks right now. You can see that it's traded back above the support line. Here's support. I mentioned this when I put out my Snagit this morning, where I capture the NASDAQ and make comments on it. This was a brutal day yesterday. There was more of the same. Today it followed through to the downside, but you can see that buyers came into the market, and at this point, with 3 hours to go, it is above support. Of course, that can collapse. You can see it was stronger, got up to this point, and then backed off to where it currently is. It's currently trading at 74.7% of its intraday range. So we'll see how it closes. I just want to go in here, and I'm going to go into my designer, and I'll go up to my industry groups. Now my stocks have been updating in the background. So I'm going to take that information and I'm going to go to my industries, and I'll rebuild the industries. And then we'll get a quick snapshot of what groups are leading, what's going on. Just takes less than a minute to do this. And then I'll click through to the warehouse views, and I want to go to a different view, to my HGSI view. And I'll sort on raw combo. And this gives me a snapshot of the market. What's leading today? I'm sorted on raw combo, percentage price change. The advertising and marketing index is up the most, but there's only one advancer and 10 decliners. That seems a little bit strange, doesn't it? So let's take a look in here. I'll go top down, and Quinn Street is up. All of these are down, and I guess, well, there's two here. I guess that was enough to make the index positive for the day, 2.9%. But this is a market cap weighted index rather than an equal dollar weighted index, so that could be the difference. It just seems awfully strange that this index is up that far. Let's go back up here, see what we have. There's only one in this group, exploration and production, of course, because oil is up again today. You can see this is a dominant group again. 59 up, 10 down, followed by integrated oils. So let's take a look. Let's just drop down here. Index is up today, 53. Index is down today, 122. So the dominant groups, like I pointed out, most of the market is dominated, or the stocks that are going up, like I said, are dominated with the exploration and the integrated oils. Surprisingly, semiconductor manufacturing is doing okay. If you look over here, you can see that there are 19 advancers to 11 decliners. I'm just going to drop down to my number 3 view, which is demand supply, and this brings the groups that have the strongest advancers divided by decliners to the top of the list. Integrated oils, the conservative group here, food services, exploration and production, and building subcontractors. You can rebuild these groups anytime during the day, as long as you have thinkorswim running in the background, and this will give you a great insight as to what's going on. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go under my Tools menu and I'm going to rebuild the user smart groups. This takes about 30 seconds, so I'm going to pause the video. Okay, so that's finished. I'm going to go into my top user smart groups. Going to go to the intraday market indicators, and I'll click on this major markets components, stocks up and down, and I can quickly look in here. Here's the combined list of all stocks that are in the major indexes. Out of those, 758 are up if you look up at the top, and how many are down? 1492. I'm not going to go through all these, but all of these indexes are in here, and if you just want to get a quick read on the market. These are stocks assigned to industry groups. 3909, well, let me make sure there's no filter on. You should always make sure there's no filter, because the filter is transferred from the warehouse when you go into a different module. So I'm holding my shift key down and clicking on the filter, and those numbers are correct. So let's see how many are up. 1215 are up and 2614 are down, so it's about 2-to-1 negative right now. I use that for a quick read on the market. Then I come in here and look at stocks and groups moving up and down. This captures 100 stocks. If I flip through to here and then go down to my daily prospecting views, you can see these stocks are all up. If I sort on the industry, as you would probably guess, several exploration and production stocks are in here, but others are in here too. So let's take a look. Biotech, exploration and production, REITs, healthcare services, auto parts, marine shipping. There's a couple in here. But if you're looking to get into trades, and most people are not going to buy anything going into the long weekend, this is one way you can prospect, and then just put other views on. Okay, I'm just going to drop down here and let's see what's down today. I just dropped down to the next smart group, and big biotech section or group. Same with specialty pharma, medical devices, and so on. So there's opportunities here to look for either longs or shorts. Now I'm going to take you to another group. Go down here to the, I'm looking for intraday bullish, and I rebuilt the industry groups already, and these two scans look for stocks that have an 80 EPS and RS rank or minimum, or the 85-85. If you want a little more stringent, use the 85-85. Let's compare them. 15 in this one, 70 in this one. I'm going to transfer these through here or to here, and you can see that not all of these are up, but the industry groups are up. That's one of the requirements of the filter. Remember, I'm looking for 85-85 stocks. So let's just take a look at this one. EPM, not familiar with it, but I can immediately see that it's trading at 96.77% of its daily range. The 3 crossed above the 6 2 days ago. The VPOC crossed above 4 days ago. Let's bring that chart up. It's a little $7 stock. You can see a pocket pivot here. You can see the crossover here. So this is a higher high than this, and this is the second high, and this would be the third high, even though it's a black candle, because it got up there and it's setting up a flag trade. Let's look at the look at this earnings growth and the revenue growth. These are both moving up nicely. Look at the estimated quarterly earnings coming in at 475% above the same quarter last year. Neither trend is up, but it is starting to move up. The micro trend is now up. The intermediate term trend, let's get down here and take a look at this. It looks like it's right on the 0 line, so that would be the 6 going above the 18, and you can see it right there. It's right on the line. This is just a way to look for stocks intraday. Now let's look at the RS ranks and the EPS rank. 90 and 97. Group rank is 99. This has been updated, this group line, when I rebuilt the groups. So this is all current. It's setting up nicely, and the very short-term trend is up now. Okay, I'm going to do one more, and then I'll end this segment. Let's go down here. This is something that I just put in. I haven't really talked about it yet, and I'll be doing a separate movie on it. But this one is an intraday instant watch list. The fan is up and the industry is up. If you look over here, the industry is up for the day, and if I scroll over to the right, you can see that the EMA fan is up on all of these. So these would be strongly trending stocks, or trending enough so that the fan is up, and they're in stocks or in groups that are moving up also. I'm going to sort on raw combo. Let's just look at this. Here is post holdings. You can see the fan is up 200, 100, 50, 18. The 3's above the 6. It happened right here yesterday, and this one is following through to the upside. This is post. This is a consumer staple. We saw that that group was up when I looked at the industry groups. So let's take a little bit closer look at this. EPS rank is terrible. The RS is 83. Remember, I'm on a different scan right now. I'm just looking for stocks are in a fan uptrend, and the group is up for the day. This stock had a low pivot right here. It's right on the monthly line, but this is the low on this stock. And if I look down here in the corner, it says the low was 72.28, which would be right here. And then there was a bullish candle the next day with an effort to rise, and this high right here was taken out as the 3 went up through the 6, and it's moved up nicely. As I look at this chart, you can see there was support here, then there was a crossover on the effort to rise. This is expansion. Then it went into contraction. Found support at the 18. Support at the 18. It got through. It broke through here. Found support at the 50. And then we had the effort to rise and the 3 cross over the 6. There are a couple of down days here. Here's a first lower low, second lower low, and then it reversed and went to the upside. Okay, let's Campbell's Soup. Both consumer staples moving together as a group. Look at this beautiful chart. Expansion all the way up. There was a low, second lower low, but it bounced up. Buyers came in, and then it didn't get down and take that out, so it held together. Stayed up. The 3, you can see a little momentum loss here. It got right down to it. I don't think it crossed to the downside, and now it's moving up again. So when you get these pullback days, they're going to happen. You just, if you're in a strong trend, you really have to have the discipline to ride through them. I know it's very hard to do, but if you really study these charts, you can overcome a lot of that emotion and hold on to stocks that are trending beautifully like this. Also, this is a reason you don't want to scan only on EPS rank. I know I was looking at 85s, but a lot of these stocks that are the strongest stocks have poor earnings per share. But It's the market environment that we're in. Okay, let's do one more back in the designer. And this is the same thing here, and I'm going to do a separate video on this. I'm looking for stocks that are in groups where the fan is up, but they have to be up both 1 and 5 days. If you look back here, you'll see that they're up both for the industries are up for today and over a 5-day period. Now this represents today because I rebuilt the indexes. Now the other smart groups that I have in here are pullbacks, looking for stocks that are up in industry groups that are up, but there's nothing because we had that terrible day yesterday and there were no pullbacks where the industry groups were up. Okay, I just wanted to take that quick look at the market. You can see where the strength is, of course, as you would suspect, the oil stocks. I'll come back and do a short segment when the market closes. It's 3:07 p.m. on Friday, the 6th, and I'm going to take a look at the closing numbers and so on. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to update and I'm going to include the intraday data. And if you do this at the end of the day, if you're anxious to start prospecting for the next day and so on, if you include the intraday data, it's just pretty similar to updating at the end of the day. You won't have all the fundamental data and so on, but you'll have all the technical data. Now, while that's going on, let's take a look here. And you can see that that's the NQ. Let me go to the comp. So that's what I was using before. And it was positive when I was here about noon, and you can see that it slipped, got all the way down to 11,990.15 during the day, and where it closed at 41.96% of its daily range. So it did break support, but during the last hour or so, let me go to the 78-minute chart here, you can see that it got down to the low of, well, the low of the day was actually earlier, but it was coming back down and then it reversed and we had some buying coming in at the end. But it wasn't enough to get us back above this support level. So support has been broken. Let me go back to this, and I want to bring another chart over here. You're familiar with this, I assume. This is the ES 5-minute chart, the NQ. This is the bonds. This is a daily chart, and here's oil daily. Here's the VIX, and the number of advancers versus decliners in the S&P 500. There it was 201 negative. Here's the AD for the NYSE minus 1296, and for the NQ minus 2432. So pretty negative day. You can see the buying coming in late in the day. Now let's look at the volume on the NYSE. It was it's been fairly high the last 3 days, and it was relatively high today, but you can see on the NASDAQ the volume over the past 3 days has been high, and it was higher today than yesterday, and yesterday was that major selling day. So I'm just going to maximize this quickly, and I'm going to change this to 1 month daily, and you can see yesterday using the NQ that the volume was heavier, but today's volume was nearly as heavy. Now could these be classified as selling climaxes? Well, that remains to be seen, since this is now closed below support on the NQ also in addition to the comp. I'll go back up and restore this to my 5-minute 3-day default, zoom in on it, and restore the cells. Okay, I can eliminate this view. So what did we close? We closed down 173 points. down another 1.40. It was a lot worse, as you can see. So it wasn't a total free fall today, which is a little bit of positivity, not much, but the trends remain clearly down. You can see this is the 18, this is the 50. I'm sorry, this is the 200, this is the 100, this is the 50, and this is the 18. Everything is down. The trend is down according to the context of the moving averages. Let's take a close look at some of the tech stocks. Here's Google, clearly in a downtrend. Microsoft, CHOP, downtrend. I'm just looking at these moving averages for context. Netflix, clearly in a downtrend. Roku had a little movement up earlier on decent earnings, but you can see it's clearly in a downtrend also. Stocks, downtrend. I don't think we're going to find many or any tech stocks that are in an uptrend. Amazon, wow, look at that. From 34.16 down to 22.61. Here's AARK, it's an ETF, but you can see what's happened to it. I want to find Apple. That's a bright spot. Let's see, it's below the 200 though, and it tried to rally today. You can see it got up to this high, but it actually did close positive, but down at 58.94% of its daily range. I wanted to look at Tesla, and then we'll move on from here. Here's Tesla down 763. It's below the 200 also, and these moving averages have crossed down. So there's just not a lot of positivity in this market. So let's go in and take a look at HGSI. It's been updated. I'm going to go ahead and rebuild the user smart groups also. I paused the video while I was doing that, and let's just take a look here. Quick look at this one. All stocks and indexes. Price up 521. Price down 1735. Assigned industry groups 859 up. Almost 3,000 down. So extremely negative day. I'm going to close this and just go down to the end of day bullish, and let's look at the 85. I believe there were 70 in here when I looked at this at noon, and now it's dropped down to 45. Remember, the industry group has to be up for these 85 stocks to appear in here, and let's sort on the industry, and you can see what the dominant groups are. This is the same as I saw at during the noon or right after noon, but these are the ones that held up. These are all positive, and the industry group is positive. I should say the industry groups are positive. Let's do a secondary sort on here. I'll put intraday range. That way I can look at the expiration and production stocks according to their range. ConocoPhillips, I'll bring a chart up here. I just happen to have a black chart here. By the way, if you like the black charts in my charts, just go under stock and ETF analysis charts, and this is where I am. I'm sorry, I'm on number 9. Right here. This contains the industry group and the stocks, and it shows momentum down here, the 3 above the 6, 6 and 18, and the 18 above the 50. Even on this pullback here, notice that the 18 stayed above the 50. This has been a very choppy stock. As you can see, it would have been very hard to hold unless you're a long-term holder of it, but it looks like it's breaking out to a new high. Let's go to a monthly chart and see what it looks like. It's an all-time high on the monthly chart. I just hit my alternate M key. Alternate W shows a weekly chart, so a lot of strength here. Okay, let's see what else. What's next? Hess Corp 99.07. Now this is, after this correction here, this has been a much tighter chart and a nice uptrend. You can see that the 3 has stayed above the 6. That's its lowest point right here. So this is my momentum. This is what I look at for momentum. If the histogram bars are staying up, that means momentum is expanding. As they come down here, it tells you that there's some consolidation. It's hard to look up here and see the momentum, but you can clearly see the momentum down here on the histogram bars. Now I want to point out that since I did that intraday or the end of day update and included the intraday data, notice that this date has changed. I'm now using data from 5/6. Before I did that, this said 5/5 because it was end of day data from 5/5. So this is all current now. So this now shows 5/6, and I'm sorry, I hit the wrong one. Intraday date is also 5/6. And if I bring up a chart and go to a chart that has the intraday data, let's see if this chart has it. Intraday date is 5/6. And if I go up to the end of day data chart, you can see that says 5/6 also. This is because I did a full date update using intraday data from thinkorswim. Now, if I go back to the smart groups, they're still showing 22:05:05 Thursday. But this is because of the last end of day download. And for some reason, this date does not change when I do that update with intraday. But by looking at these columns here, the intraday date and the last date, I know that this is all current, even in here. Let's take a look just to make sure. Well, I know it is because we're looking right here at this 45 securities, and it was 70 securities before. Okay, I'm back in the designer. Let's just take a look at the 16 stocks on my instant watch list. End of day bullish. This requires a fan being up. There are only 16 stocks in here. Let's take it through here, and you can see that the last date is 5/6 today. So these stocks were all up today with the fan up. This is where the strength was. You can run that intraday update any time of the day to find stocks. It takes some time to run the whole thing. I rarely do it, but you can do it. Let's just look at this to make sure. This is EOG Resources. If I click on here, does this correspond with the chart high, wide, very high, high, wide, very high? Above average, wide, very high. So you can see that these stocks are all very strong. So like I said, you can run that full update anytime during the day, and you can locate these stocks. There are other ways you can do it without doing this, but if you want an instant watch list, you can do that, or you can run this during the day. And I'm going to use the same. This is what I call instant watch list, intraday bullish. Click through here. There's going to be a lot of the same stocks in here. And you can find these without running a full update. The advantage of this is it takes 30 seconds to run rather than 4 to 5 minutes. And you can find stocks with the same filter. I'm using the same filter. Whoops, I wanted this. I'm using the same filter on the instant watch list intraday as I am on the end of day watch list. May not get the same stocks exactly, but there should be several of the same stocks. Why do they differ? Because the combo rankings differ. Okay, I just want to point out, even though this has really been a rotten day and an unbelievably volatile week, every day there are strong stocks, and if you want to play the long side, you can play the long side. Now, I do have, like I said, I'm going to be doing videos on a lot of these smart groups, but there are some bearish scans in here also. I have more work to do on this, but I have a few, and as I go into the warehouse, you can see that these stocks are all down for the day. Let's sort on the industry. You can see these industries are mostly down, and what the industries are. Okay, I'm going to end this video before it gets any longer. I showed you what happened in the market using thinkorswim, and I also showed you that you can do a lot of things with HGSI intraday. It's extremely powerful. You don't need to buy a lot of expensive indicators. It's a waste of your money. Just use the program and learn how to read charts, trends, pivots, and so on, and you'll be much further ahead, and you'll be dollars ahead. Thank you for listening. Have a good weekend.